Hello.
Hello.
Let me push this back. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Sorry, this is super close. Did you have a good
Yeah,
day at work? You work today,
I
right?
did. Yeah, it was good. How about you?
Yep, it was a big day for me, but we got through it and it was great.
Yeah, that's good. Sorry about my empty shelves. I'm moving, so I look like I have no books, but yeah, they're in boxes. I'm not like a fake reader, I swear.
Are you doing like a big move or
I
is it just
am.
okay?
Yeah, I bought a house,
Yeah.
so yeah, moving into my first house. So there's a lot of stuff going around. I'm like not moving far. I'm just like it's a big move in terms of just like yeah.
Yeah, congrats. That's
Thank
really exciting.
you. Thank you. It's really, really exciting.
Well, let's jump in.
Yeah,
So, we are talking about where happiness begins. I am using my iPad to ask questions, so I can't show it to everybody,
right.
but a beautiful cover.
Thank you.
Um, so let's just start really quick with learning a little bit more about you and how you got to where you are right now as a writer.
Yeah. So well, I guess I have no formal training in writing, first of all. I'm a doctor in my real life. So and I started writing during medical school. Kind of like when the pandemic hit, I had more free time. I was kind of isolated at home and decided to start writing. Really liked it. And I started self-publishing in 2021 with my first book, A Risk on Forever. And I kind of just continued from there. And now we're 6 books in, and it's very, very exciting. And yeah, I think that's about it. I live in Montreal, Canada, so my first language is French. I so that you can that's the accent you hear. And yeah, I think that's about it about me.
One of my best friends is from France, and she lived in Montreal for a bit, and she says it's
Really.
beautiful. We keep talking about making a trip up there, so hopefully.
You really, really should. But honestly, I much prefer friends. If we're being honest, like if I have to visit, I'd much rather visit friends than Montreal. But it's cute. It's cute. Where are you from?
Um, so I'm in North
Okay.
Carolina. So yeah, I've been to France, so now I just need to go to
Yeah.
Montreal.
Yeah. I guess you have to. Don't come in winter. It's not a good representation of the province, the country.
Do not worry, I will not do that. So where I know that this book is part of a series, but where did you get inspiration for this story?
I mean, I don't think I had like one specific thing that inspired me. I knew I wanted to write a marriage of convenience at some point, because I've always loved that trope. And I had the idea in the back of my mind for like a few years of writing a book with a protagonist who'd gone through an organ transplant, because I think that's such like a fascinating healthcare like issue, not an issue, but just like it's kind of fascinating to me having to go through that, and I kind of wanted to explore that with a character. And I feel like the two sort of clicked, and I was like, this has to be my marriage of convenience story. And that's kind of how I got from there. There wasn't like one specific thing that I'm like, yeah, that truly inspired the book. Some books I really have like one specific, like I saw a TikTok at some point which like inspired me, but this one was really like random.
I'm sure that working in the medical field, even
Yeah,
subconsciously, maybe that plays into it a little bit, but
for sure. So like if you've read any of my books, you know that I always try to incorporate medical stuff, because I feel like so much of our daily lives are impacted by medical stuff. And like if you just look around you, if it's not you, like you have loved ones, or you have family members or friends or boyfriends or whatnot that are affected by health issues. Um and those like deeply impact how we see the world and how we interact with our world and how we form relationships. And I think it's really interesting to kind of integrate that, because it's such a huge part of all of our lives, whether it's like really, really close to us or not. So yeah, I always try to incorporate stuff that I do see in the hospital, but sometimes it's stuff that I wonder like what would happen if I did see that, and like what kind of in what context would that be. And yeah.
well, kind of going off of that, this book specifically, it does not shy away from hard topics like health issues, healthcare, family death, alcoholism. Like, it kind of is a real human story. So, how do you approach like weaving together these complex and heavy topics with heartfelt experiences too?
So I think that kind of relates to the same answer as before. It's that I like to portray books that are kind of like real life. And in real life, you will meet health issues and you will meet very hard challenges. You will lose people at some point, or you will know someone who lost someone. You might go through medical problems, or your partner might go through that, or your family members. And I think that it would kind of be like kind of, I don't know, like burying your head in the sand if you pretended that those things don't happen in real life. And I do like my books. And that's not to say that I don't like really light fluffy books. I do love those when like I'm in the mood for them, but I also really like to read books where I feel like we see real people having real challenges and real hard stuff that happens to them, and weaving kind of the hope of it all with the romance. So um I do like to integrate those themes, but I don't want those themes to be heavy and to feel like they're dragging the story and that everything is depressing. I want my stories to feel like, yes, you can have all those things happen to you. Yes, it can be really, really hard sometimes, but you can also find love through it all. And the romance aspect of it is kind of like my hopeful part of it. And that's what I really like about writing romance, is that you can tackle really, really hard stuff and still have a book that feels happy in the end, or that at least feels bittersweet. And I do love having all those hard things in the story, because then I feel like with the partner that the characters meet, they kind of feel ready to tackle these issues together and kind of face forward together through these hardships. And that's what I really, really like to build, like between my characters.
Well, you did a great
Thank
job.
you.
um, Speaking of the characters, both of them, Lil and Carter, they realize you see that their progression has kind of allowed them both to realize that like your dreams can change completely or they can just totally evolve over time, but it's still it still matters to chase your dreams regardless of what they end up being. So I'm curious to know why that was such a key part of the story, like why you wanted to tell that message.
And again, I think that kind of goes with the idea of hope. I think that yes, I do talk about very, very hard situations and very heavy topics, and I feel like having my characters not go after their dreams because of these situations would kind of do them a disservice and not feel like, hopeful, in the sense that I do think you can go through all these hardships in life and you can meet all these difficulties, but then again, like there are so many like good things to be lived and to be felt. And I think that kind of goes with this. Like you can like battle alcoholism in your 20s. You can go through like through loss and through through illness, and you can still see that there are so many more great things to come, and you should reach out after, like you should reach for those things, because this matters. And it really matters that the people who maybe are in the hospital or maybe are going through a really rough patch, they can see that there's more after that patch. And there are so many dreams that you should reach, even if you feel like you don't deserve it. Even if you feel like you can do it, you should do it, because life is so much more than those hardships.
Well, speaking of so much more, one of our characters has a pretty big secret. Um, Obviously, that will lead to a big reveal. And I know the whole time I was like, I couldn't wait to like, I knew there was something and I knew it was gonna be big and I couldn't wait. And that was just like, I was eating it up. But did you know, like all along, was that the
Yeah,
plan or did it come to you?
yeah, it was absolutely the plan. When I when i said that I had the idea for the book, like it was immediately at the forefront of my mind, and I knew that that was where it was leading. I didn't know how to lead to that. So like I tried many different versions of like what kind of secrets they had, and how the reveals would happen. So like there are many different versions of that book, like either written or in my head. But I think the one that I went with is my favorite. But yeah, it was definitely like the book was going to be around that for sure.
Well, I loved it so much. I always love a good secret reveal
Me
that,
too.
you know, and you did it so well. It wasn't like it didn't make me mad to wait for it. It didn't like, and I had an idea, but I still wasn't like there's multiple layers to it. So it felt really rewarding and I liked it a
Well,
lot.
thank you so much. It felt hard because like, and also having like like the characters in your romance book having secrets, it's very hard because you want the secret to be like big enough that it would cause tension between the couple once it's revealed, but you don't want it to be like so big and so bad that like they actually break up and you're like, I shouldn't ship these two together because like that was too big of a lie. So it's kind of like a very fine line to walk when you're writing these kind of secret reveals and secrets, like, and when you know that it's gonna happen because you know that there's a secret that the character is not telling the other, and you're just like waiting like on the edge of your seat, and it has to be big, but it has to be like not too big. So that was kind of like my biggest challenge, I think, with this book, just like figuring out how to have the characters like forgive each other and be able to move past that, because you don't want to. I hate when I read a book and I'm like, I don't think these two people should end up together. I think they're bad for each other, and I think that was toxic. So I was like, I need this book not to be toxic through The Secret.
Well, yeah, I mean, you did it was so rewarding. Like I said, it was so rewarding. And it sounds I was going to ask you like what the most challenging part about writing this one is, but it sounds like maybe that was it.
Yeah, it really was. It really, and I think that's always a fine line with just like the third act breakups or the third act kind of tension. It's just like, okay, we need something that's like that's believable, that the couple will actually like rethink their relationship, because I also hate when the third act breakup makes no sense. You're like, why didn't you just talk through that? But then again, like you don't want it to be so big that they walk away and you're like, oh, maybe they should stay away forever. So yeah, that's definitely a challenge in all books, but definitely in that one.
Yeah, I agree with you. When there's some of those third act breakups where you're like, this just didn't have to
Yeah,
happen and it kind of feels wasteful.
right. Like this would be resolved if you just like spoke for 5 minutes. But then again, I'm not against the miscommunication trope at all times, just because I feel like it's so realistic. Like how many times have we gotten into fights with people just because like we didn't say what we meant, or like we were mad but we didn't want to say it. So like I feel like it's annoying as a reader to be like, just talk it through. But then again, like I feel like it's probably the most realistic trope of them all, just because like if you look at your friends and your family and stuff, that's what happens all the time. Like no one gets married out of convenience. Like it happens, but like it's so rare. But miscommunication happens all the time. So I think that's maybe that's why we hate it, because it's like it's too real. I don't know, but yeah,
Well, maybe that's why we love Marriage of Convenience because it
maybe,
doesn't
yeah.
happen. So we're
Like
like, okay.
I want that. Like I just want someone to sweep me off my feet and marry me for no reason, and then I fall in love. Like it's so easy. So
Well, on the other side of that, what was your favorite part about telling this story or writing it, the process, whichever?
I think playing with the marriage of convenience trope was really, really fun. I fell in love with that trope. I think it was with The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Mariana Zapata. If you haven't read it, it's all good. And I like ever since I've just been like so obsessed with it, because like there's so much, like all of the good micro tropes are in there. Like you have the forced proximity, you have the fake dating, you have like yeah, you have all of the feels, and it's just so good. So I really, really enjoyed like having fun with it. And maybe some people will say she didn't even put her twist on it, like it's just the same old Marriage of Convenience, and I don't care, because like I could read the same old Marriage of Convenience story every single time and I'd be happy with it, and I think it's good. So like no, there's no like special twist. They actually get married and then they fall in love. like afterward, and I don't care. It's what I love about it. It's just like, you know what steps are coming, you know what's coming, and it's just like the anticipation of like, where, oh, they'll have to like fake kiss in front of people, and they'll have to like meet each other's parents, and they'll have to fake in front of everyone, and it's so exciting. So I think that was really just like being able to play with that trope for the first time and having my fun with it. That was it.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for that trope. Like fake dating, marriage of convenience. I can't get enough of it. It's just too, like you said, I feel just as passionately about it as you do. It's
It's
too
too
good. It's the
good.
angst, the tension. It's like you have to have it.
Yeah, and you know what's coming, and that's the thing about romance. Like my husband is always like, but don't you mind that the book is always going to end in the same way? I'm like, no, that's exactly what I want. I want to know what's going to happen because I know like kind of what to expect in between, and I also don't know what to expect in between. Like I don't know how they'll get there, and that's the interesting part. Like I know like the good stuff is coming, and I know what good stuff is coming. I just don't know how it'll happen, and that's the most fun.
Well, and I feel like a really great romance book makes you wonder, like, am I actually gonna get the HEA at the
Yeah,
end? Because I don't see how we get there from
right.
here. And that's so rewarding.
Right. I feel like the last time I felt that was with Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I don't know if you read it. That was like through it all was like there's no way, like I don't know how they can end up together, but they have to, like they will, but I don't know how. Like it makes no sense. And so like when it finally happens, or all of Ashley Poston's books. Poston? Like they all, every single time I'm like there's no way they will end up together. Like there's no way they can't. The other guy's dead. Like they can't, and they do. Like it's so great. Like it's so much fun. I think she does such a great job with it because like every single time I'm on the edge of my seat wondering how they'll get together.
Okay, I feel like this can be a hard question for some people. Maybe it will be for you, but I want to throw it out there. If you had to fan cast your two main characters, do you know who you would choose?
I honestly don't. Like I really don't picture anyone like real in my head when I write. Um
That's okay. It's
I
probably
think
better
I
that
think
way.
it's easier for girls. Like I think I was just talking with a friend earlier about it, and we were thinking like maybe for Lil we could go with someone like Elle Fanning, just like very cutesy blonde girl. But for Carter, I really don't know. I see actors. I'm like I don't see it, but yeah. And when I draft, I have a very, very vague idea of like what people look like. And you can ask any of my friends when I'm drafting, I'm like, I don't know what happens and I don't know what he looks like. And so sometimes like I don't know, like, I would ask my friend like, does he have tattoos on his upper arm or not? Like I don't know. I have no clue. And so like the whole book is full of inconsistencies when I'm drafting because I'm like I don't know what the guy looks like. So sometimes he has blue eyes, sometimes he has green eyes. Like there's no picture in my head. It's just like a big blob kind of thing. So it's very, very hard to fan cast, I think. But if you have ideas, please throw them out there.
I also do not have any ideas. I ask this question with the full like awareness that I also don't have an answer.
But it's fun to think about it, and it's really fun to like ask readers who they're picturing when they're reading the book. Because sometimes they will throw out actors who like look nothing like what you describe the book, like describe the character in the book, but like I can see it. It's always
All
fun to do that.
vibes. All vibes.
All vibes, exactly.
Well, what is one thing that Lil and Carter taught you while you were writing this book?
What have they taught me? I feel like all books kind of teach us things in their own way. What has this one taught me? I feel like maybe I'm a real grumpy girl in real life, and so like writing Sunshine Girls is always kind of a challenge because I don't see life that way. I don't see life like with the glass half full kind of way. And so I feel like writing Lil with her journey and with like what she went through and how she sees the world after it, kind of like enjoy every single moment because it could be your last kind of way of thinking is really enlightening, and I try. to put that in my life and to kind of see every like good moment as like, take a break and just like pause and enjoy it, which she does with Carter. I think that's good advice for me in general. And I think that's what she taught me.
I love that. I'm so happy for you. Um, if readers could take away one thing other than that, what do you think you would want that to be?
I think I always say the same thing about like all of my books, but I really like writing books where the characters kind of start by not feeling that like they're deserving of love, either like consciously or internally they don't feel like they really are deserving of someone else's love, and by the end of the book they do find that love. And I like my readers to finish the book and feel like, okay, if I haven't found love yet, it's not because I'm not worthy of love, it's because I haven't found the right person to like love me for who I am. And I feel like that's what you see in the book. Like both characters are kind of like feeling like maybe they should not be in a relationship, or maybe like no one will ever love them. And it's just that they hadn't met the other person yet. And so I think that's what I want my readers to always feel when they finish my book. It's just that if you haven't found love, it's not that you're not worthy of it. It's just that you haven't found the right person yet.
That's so special. I love that. Okay, so we're gonna pivot a little bit and start talking about like writing process. I would love to know, especially because you are a doctor, as like your big girl job. Um, like how do you do it? What's your writing process?
I don't know how I do it. My writing process is just very chaotic, I think, because I take time wherever I find it and I just go with it. So like in med school, it was a lot easier to kind of have like my timed writing sessions and to kind of draft in 6 to 8 weeks and then to edit in like 3 months and then send to beta readers and edit again. I feel like now the process has kind of changed because residency is probably the hardest part of the medical like training job thingy. um because I'm a resident doctor, so like I'm not on my own yet. I still have like kind of a crazy schedule, and so yeah, I think that has made it a lot harder. But in an ideal world, when I have the time, I finish my day job, or if I work nights or evenings, then I will do my day job then, and then I will use the other part of the day to kind of sit down and draft. I tried to draft a chapter a day 6 days a week. And then I try to edit a chapter a day 6 days a week. That obviously hasn't been very easy in residency, and I haven't been able to follow that plan in residency. But that's like what I try to do in an ideal world. And then I draft, I edit. So like really two different steps. I don't do it at the same time. Then I send to beta readers or to critique partners. I get their feedback. I do the same thing, so like 1 or 2 chapters a day, go through it all, and then send to my editor. So that's my kind of chaotic process. Hopefully, like in like next year, I'll be done residency and I can have like a more kind of scheduled writing time. But yeah,
So do you think there would ever come a time where you would just say, I'm a writer, like I'm an author, that's all I'm gonna do? Or is it both forever?
I think it's kind of a dream. I don't know how realistic it is. I mean, it's such an unreliable career, and I'm used to like I'm a type A girl. I was a type A student. I like to like know what was happening, know what I was gonna make every single day. So it's really like jumping into the unknown. I mean, again, it would be a dream. I don't know that I would ever leave medicine fully just because like I spent so many years on it, and I feel like I do have like a very like I like having that privileged role in my patients' lives, and I would kind of feel like abandoning them if I just like went away to write romance novels. But I mean, like writing, like working as a doctor is my job, and writing is, I still see it as my hobby. Like it's not a full job for me personally. But if ever it came to that and I had the chance to do it, I probably would. Like, who am I kidding? I probably would.
Well, I guess we'll see.
I guess we'll
We'll
see.
see. We'll talk about it
But
later.
for the time being, I'm doing both, and I think I'll do both for quite a bit.
I mean, you've got to get the reward of all of your
Right?
hard work, and now you got
Yeah.
to do that too.
Like, I want my Louboutins. Like, I want to get that reward.
Do you have any advice for current aspiring writers or authors or anyone self-publishing or anything that you think is valuable to share?
Yeah. I think if you're self-publishing, don't ever publish a first draft of anything. Like, you will think it's good. It's not. It's really not. Don't do it. I would even dare to say maybe don't publish your first book, but that might be a me thing. My first book I thought was amazing. I thought it was like it was the next best thing. Um and I reread it and it was so bad. It was terrible. Like, it was horrible. I can't believe I made people read this. So I would say, like, careful what you publish. Make sure that's really what you want to put out and associate with your name. And other than that, like, just for writers in general, I would say just write. Like, there will never come a time when you're like, oh my God, I'm so full of inspiration. I just want to write a book. Like, I just want to write it all. Like, you want to write a book, but you don't want to sit down and actually write and like go through the challenges of it and just like not know what to write. And if you just wait for inspiration to hit, it never will. Like, you will never write your book. So I think it's just like, be consistent as much as you can, set time to write, and be like, okay, today I'm writing. I don't know what I'm writing, and sometimes, yeah, it will be trash, and you will have to edit it, or you will have to cut it out. But I think if you don't sit down and write, you will never get a book. So just like, sit down, write whatever you want, whatever you can for the day, and make sure like you really push yourself out there, even if you don't want to, because you never will want to. Like, we all want a book published, but no one wants to like sit down and write instead of scrolling through TikTok.
Fair enough. Well, what's next for you in terms of your writing and books or whatever you're planning next for your next project?
Right. So I'm currently editing um my next book, which is Single Dad's Second Chance Romance, which was another trope I really, really wanted to experiment, the single dad trope. And that's very nice. It's been a real struggle, that book. It's like a real pain in the ass. Like, I guess I wasn't in the mindset to write it when I drafted, because I was like so tired from all the shifts. And like, you could see it in the first draft. It was so bad. So again, don't publish your first draft. It was bad. And now I'm kind of like in a rewriting process, and I'm trying to fall in love with the story again. And I really am. Like, I'm maybe a third of the way in, and I'm falling in love with the story and the characters again, because I took some time off, and I'm trying to rewrite it and rework it. And we'll see how I publish it. I don't know yet. So I guess we'll see when it comes out. I have no clue. I'm trying not to put too much pressure on myself, because there's a lot going on. And I guess we'll just see when it's ready and when the time comes. But I'm really excited about it.
I mean, that's exciting. I love a good single dad trip, and I know other people are already expressing their excitement too. So Where Happiness Begins, it's out right now,
Yes,
available for everyone. Is it on KU?
it is.
Okay. So everyone has access. Well, I guess if you don't have KU, you don't have access. But it is available in some format to everyone
It
who
is.
would want to have it.
It is.
So
And I think it should be coming to audio soonish. So that's the only
perfect.
format it's not in yet, but I have high hopes that it will come soon.
That's so fun. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so glad that you were able to just chat with me about the book, and good luck on your move. That's
Thank you so much.
thrilling.
And thank you so much for having me. This was so fun.
Absolutely. Have a great night. Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye.
Bye.